Have you ever been so tired that even things you want to do feel like too much? I'm not talking about running a marathon or working a 16-hour shift. I'm just talking about making lunch, folding the laundry, cleaning up the kitchen, taking a shower, having a friend come over, like someone you really like, and you want them to come over, and you're just standing there thinking, why is this so hard for me? Because that's where I've been lately. I have found myself there often. And I almost made a really big mistake. I almost treated my exhaustion like a motivation problem when my body was giving me information. I've lived with multiple sclerosis for about 2 decades. So you would think I would recognize the difference, but I didn't. I kept reaching for more energy, more caffeine. Ugh, I have a weakness for Alani and Rain, the Reighn. And I'm not marketing for them. I'm not connected, and I actually don't think they're healthy, so they probably wouldn't want me as a marketing person. But as far as energy drinks go, I feel like I've gotta have them sometimes, and I know we don't. We don't gotta have them. We don't need them, but I know we get in the habit. And so I reach for it. And those are the 2 that I reach for. And it's because I just keep pushing and I'm like, come on, self. Come on, Rebecca, get up. Go, go. Huh, right. And I just, so eventually I had to ask a different question instead of this, what if my body isn't like hating me, but also not wanting me to keep going? Like, what if my body isn't asking me to push harder, but maybe asking me to pay attention, right? Today, I'm going to show you, well, I want to show you what I've been experiencing, what I think I got wrong, and what MS fatigue can actually feel like. It's not the same as just a little bit tired, right? It's not. And the simple things that I'm changing right now. Because honestly, whether you have MS or another chronic condition, or you're just wondering why you don't feel like yourself anymore, I want you to hear this before you automatically decide that you need more discipline or that you failed. Okay. So please stay, listen, and let's do this. So for part 1, I want to talk about the day it clicked for me. This actually became really clear to me because of something ridiculously ordinary. Like, I had a friend coming over for lunch. That's it. It was someone I wanted to see. I wasn't hosting Thanksgiving. I wasn't preparing for 30 people like we do every Sunday for Bible study. I just needed to straighten up the house a little bit and make some lunch, something simple. She wasn't picky, and just get myself ready. Like, just brush my hair. Nothing intense. Again, good friend. Nothing difficult needed. Except I didn't want to do it. Or did I? Maybe I did want to do it. That's the strange part. I remember thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to have her over. I'm too tired. But I did want to. I do want to do this. Why am I feeling this way? That distinction matters. That's what we're talking about. Because I wasn't saying I don't care about my friend. I wasn't saying I don't enjoy people. I wasn't saying I've decided I just want to lay around all day and be lazy and scroll and no. My brain wanted to participate in life, I think, but my body felt that it was kind of unplugged. And suddenly I started thinking about something differently. I've always known that people with multiple sclerosis can become socially isolated. And I think that somewhere in my mind, I associated that with primarily thinking it was due to physical disability, right? Like they couldn't go out, they couldn't have people over if they couldn't walk. Maybe walking had become difficult, so maybe becoming able to actually leave the house was impossible, or maybe transportation was difficult. Those things absolutely happen. But on this particular day, I wondered, what if sometimes isolation starts much earlier than that? What if somebody still looks perfectly capable, but very normal? And every interaction has quietly become super expensive. A shower costs energy. It's hard. I understand. Getting dressed in the morning costs energy. Driving, regardless of where it is, drop off kids, you have to go to the store. Maybe it's somewhere you actually want to go, but it still costs energy. Even just following a conversation, staying locked in and watching this video, being here with me, whether you're a friend or you don't know me, this is costing you energy because you're giving it attention. Cleaning before someone arrives is going to cost energy, and cooking, even if it's something simple like a sandwich or a smoothie, it costs energy. And suddenly, canceling plans isn't about whether you love people or you're an introvert. It's about whether you had enough left in the account. And that hit me hard because I could see pieces of it happening in myself. So, for part two, I want to discuss when tired isn't a big enough word. If you don't have MS, multiple sclerosis, there's something I want you to understand. MS fatigue isn't necessarily the same experience as I stayed up too late last night. And people with MS can experience fatigue even after sleeping. Actually, just this morning, I said to my husband, I know my MS is acting up because a couple days this last week, I was able to get 12 hours, which is rare and not normal, but I was able to actually sleep in and get about 12 hours of sleep. And yet I was still tired. Okay. MS fatigue happens even after sleeping. So I really mean that when I say it. And there can be a cognitive component to this or a physical component. Like your limbs can actually feel heavy. Like when I get up in the morning, especially if I'm going through a relapse phase, I feel like my body, it's almost like it weighs a million pounds and nothing at the same time. It's a very weird sensation. Like you're heavy, but it's lifting and wait, I can't even gotta can I feel it? Right? Like it's weird. It's a weird sensation. And even concentrating and just trying to get through the actions of the morning can require more effort. So sometimes the amount of exhaustion doesn't seem proportional, or it doesn't seem to match what you actually did. So that's one reason that invisible symptoms are so difficult. It's because somebody can look at you and think you look fine. Honestly, most people, probably everybody, doesn't know I have MS until I tell them, because they look at me and I look fine. And sometimes you look at yourself and you might think the same thing, right? That's what can become dangerous though emotionally, because if I look capable but don't feel capable, what's the easiest explanation? I must be lazy. I got to get it together. I've gotten weak. I just need more caffeine or a better energy drink, or if I just push myself harder, I'm just gotta get up and go. And I want to be careful here because sometimes we do need to push ourselves. Sometimes movement helps. Sometimes getting outside, even when you don't feel up to it, can really help. And sometimes maintaining routines helps tremendously, even if you don't feel you have the energy. I don't believe the answer is to assume every difficult feeling means that we should stop living. But there's a difference between challenging your body with love and refusing to listen to it. And I think I had crossed that line. So for part three, I want to discuss the caffeine loop. Here's where this became uncomfortable for me. My answer to being tired had increasingly become caffeine. I would wake up exhausted, so I would have caffeine. And sometimes that wasn't enough, so later I would have more. And then you know what can happen when you're drinking caffeine all day? You don't necessarily feel like eating, and I've already been struggling with appetite. So food hasn't sounded particularly appealing to me. And now I think it's creating a cycle. And it could be that having caffeine doesn't affect your appetite and actually triggers your desire for sugary sweets. So it can go both ways. Be aware of that. But the point is that I was exhausted and used caffeine to manufacture energy. My appetite was low and I wasn't eating enough. So I have less actual nutritional energy available. And if your triggers are pushing you to pull for something unhealthy, still not actual nutritional energy available. So in this situation, I'm exhausted. And what do I reach for? More caffeine. Do you see the problem? At some point, I had this thought, what if I'm trying to stimulate energy that I haven't actually supplied, right? Are you going to cool off if you're dumping a bucket of air on yourself? No, you need some ice water in the bucket. And that changed the way I was looking at the whole thing because caffeine can make me feel more awake. We've got the adenosine phosphate and the triggers and we're not going to go into that whole separate topic, but it isn't true energy. It's simply making you feel more awake. But caffeine isn't breakfast. It isn't protein. It isn't essential fatty acids. It isn't vitamins and minerals. It isn't hydration and it isn't sleep. And it certainly isn't replacement for nourishing your body. You cannot endlessly borrow energy from a body that you're refusing to deposit energy into. Eventually, the account notices. So for part four, I want to discuss that the health coach had to coach herself. I'm talking about me. This is the humbling part. I'm a health coach. I'm a nutritionist. I talk about nutrition. I have sat in a clinic for hours upon hours, day after day, meeting with this woman and this man and this couple and this teenager and this group. And I love it. And it's great. And I've talked about nutrition, talked about fasting, I've talked about vitamins, and I've talked about metabolic health. And I've even wrote an entire book about fasting. Oh, and a book about multiple sclerosis. And I look at myself and say, Rebecca, what are you doing? Because knowing something and consistently doing it are not the same thing. I hadn't been consistent with my vitamins. My eating had become choppy, inconsistent, sometimes healthy, sometimes not. It depended on what was convenient, which then also caused my caffeine to increase because I was feeling more tired. And my movement hadn't been as consistent as I wanted because I was tired and it's hot outside. It's August. And at least where I live in the United States in August, it is hot. It is so hot and kind of humid, like really humid, honestly, but hot and humid. And so it can be difficult to want to get outside and get moving. So, like I said, my movement wasn't as consistent as it should be. And with sleep and recovery, again, not where I wanted them. I do have sleep apnea. I was diagnosed with it from sleep studies and all the normal things that bring about that type of diagnosis many years ago, probably about 15 years ago. So obviously, my sleep is something that has to be considered and monitored and paid attention to. So considering this, is it surprising that I felt terrible? Because I was surprised. Yeah, I was. Like, ridiculous, right? Why? I knew. I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I was not doing. It's humbling. But I think it's important that health professionals talk about this because I don't want to sit here and pretend that I execute every healthy habit perfectly every day. Another thing, just this morning, my husband was teasing me about it because I was saying that I want to do better. I want to do better than I am and that I'm adjusting and what I'm trying and what I'm gonna. And, I'm always trying to do better, always trying to try again, always trying because there's so many good things to do that it can be hard to do all of them all the time. And so I'm always trying to re-implement and restart and restart. And every morning you wake up, my friend, you have to restart. It doesn't matter how good you did yesterday, but the benefit is if you did good yesterday, it makes starting the engine today a little easier. So keep that in mind. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I have a house and I have kids. I have 7. 3 are still at home. 4 of them have already flown the nest and have aged out of us, right? Because they're in college and work and, doing what kids do when they grow up. But I have responsibilities and I have multiple sclerosis and I have projects that I'm excited about, like this channel. I'm having so much fun with it. I haven't blown up yet, but guys, if you're a current subscriber, let me look. Today's August 18th of 2026. Right now I have 118 subscribers, which I feel really good about. So I want to say if you're one of them, thank you. I love you. I'm glad you're here. We're going to keep growing the channel. This is going really well. I know you may not be able to tell, but it's going well. All right. So that was a side note. It's just a project. This is a project. If you're not subscribed yet, do it. I want you to, please. Okay, so back on track. I have days when making just lunch, right, feels enormous. Just lunch. I'm not talking about a project. I'm not talking about work. I'm not talking about getting the house reset or cleaned or planning for a party. Just making lunch, just for myself, can feel enormous. Keep in mind, health isn't proving that you're perfect. And, health is noticing when you've drifted. Let's think of it like that. And then being willing to turn back when that drift took us too far off track, right? Let's bring it back. So for part 5, I want to discuss a question I have for myself all the time. But is it the MS? It's an important question. Is all of this because I have MS? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think it would be responsible for me to tell you that it is. I'm not gonna. Keep in mind, fatigue can have many causes, and nutrition can matter. I know it does. You do too. Sleep can matter. Stress can matter. Medications, hormones, illness. If you had COVID last winter, that could be impacting you, right? Long COVID is something I've heard said a lot just in the last few days. It's like it's popped up again. Maybe just something to do with my personal algorithm on YouTube that's brought it back around. But people are still dealing with long COVID and COVID. It hasn't disappeared. Illness matters and mental health is huge. It matters too. Hi, Roxy. Guys, this is Roxy. She's my Great Dane. I don't know why she's come over all of a sudden to say hi. You want to say hi? There you are. I'm doing a video. Yeah, this is what I get for doing videos from home in the family room. But, when you have the time is when you have the time. So Roxy's going to join us for a minute. But I also want to talk about, something? Anemia? Like when your iron is low, that's huge. I have a daughter. My youngest daughter is 13, and she struggles with low iron, and it does really impact her energy and ability to focus. So that's something you may want to consider, and it can easily be tested if you consult with your doctor about it, and they will be able to tell you if it's low or not. So if that is something, I recommend that you get tested for it. If it's something you've struggled with in the past or you think may be an issue, honestly, you can get a whole blood panel from your doctor to get tested for anemia or your B vitamin levels or your D vitamin levels or your magnesium levels. Like there's just so many. CoQ10 is so good. See, no. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go on a, all right, refocusing. I'm not gonna go on that tangent either. But let's keep in mind, multiple sclerosis itself can cause significant fatigue. Sometimes several things are happening simultaneously. Like I mentioned, I have MS, but I also have sleep apnea, and I'm also chronically low in vitamin D. My neurologist, my sleep, like everybody, all of my doctors have told me at one point that I need to take vitamin D. So, be aware of these things. Get your blood tested if you're able to. And if you're not, if you don't have insurance or you don't have a doctor or you don't have access, I understand. If that's the case, then I would still recommend a balanced vitamin supplement, a healthy one that will give you general support for at least the lowest recommended levels. So instead of, you know, the paradigm shift I want you to take away from this video, instead of asking what diagnosis explains everything I'm feeling. No, it's not gonna, that's hard to answer. Sometimes a more useful question is gonna be, what is my body dealing with right now, today, that I'm sitting in here, now? Because your body doesn't organize its experience according to the labels in your medical chart. It's responding to sleep, food, stress, neurology, hormones, movement, environment, illness, recovery. Everything is happening all inside of this same body. So instead of immediately blaming MS for everything or pretending that MS has nothing to do with anything, I'm looking at the whole picture. So, for part 6, let's discuss something that fasting has taught me. I need to talk about fasting here because anybody who knows my work knows how strongly I believe in it. Fasting has been one of the most powerful tools in my own health journey. But fasting is a tool. It's not a competition to see how little food you can survive on. There's a difference between intentionally creating a period of fasting and then accidentally undernourishing yourself because you're busy, tired, nauseated, stressed, or simply don't feel like eating. Those are not automatically the same physiological situation. Intentional fasting has a beginning, it has a purpose, and importantly, very importantly, it has a refeeding period. You nourish again. That's part of the cycle. So I don't want anyone watching my fasting videos to hear fasting is beneficial and translate that into eating as little as possible is beneficial. Nope, nope, no, that's not it. That's not what I'm teaching. And honestly, that's something I've had to remind myself of lately. Rest from food can be useful, but when it is time to nourish, nourishment matters too. So for part 7, that brings me to part 7. I want to talk about my vitamin bucket. Darn it, I didn't bring it down to show you. I should have. But I have this whole pink bucket full of vitamins. If you've watched my vitamin series, you've probably seen my pink bucket. I created that series. Well, I started it. It's a work in progress. I need to add more to it. But I created it because I know myself. And I can go shopping for supplements and they all look so good. And I want to buy every supplement, but I research every ingredient and I want to also know exactly why I bought it. Put it neatly in the cabinet and then forget it. Hmm. Anyone else ever done that? Have you ever owned like $300 worth of vitamins and apparently your body still expects you to actually swallow them? What? That's so inconvenient. You have to actually open the bottle and peel off that annoying seal, and then you have to actually, like, take them. I know, I know. It's really not that hard, but yet it is. The bigger point is that supplements are useful and needed, but they can't compensate for an entire lifestyle. They're called supplements because they're supposed to supplement something. Food matters. I'm going to say it again. People, sleep, movement, recovery, consistency. They all matter. The bucket isn't magic. The supplements don't do anything if they're not taken and taken correctly. It's a tool that makes the healthy choice easier. And right now, that's what I need. Less dependence on motivation and more systems that make taking care of myself automatic. So, for part 8, I want to talk about 5 things that I'm changing to help me, like what I'm actually doing. Nothing dramatic, and that's intentional. 1, especially with school starting again for my teenagers, my 2 babies, my 2 youngest have gone into 8th grade. It's the last year of what's considered middle school, at least in the United States, before you go on to high school, which is like the final teen category before college or your secondary adult education. So, anyways, point is they're in middle school. They're both 14 and they get up in the mornings. So, I also have been trying to eat earlier. It's not necessarily a gigantic breakfast. I'm not forcing down a huge meal when food sounds not appetizing and I'm just not in the mood. But I need to stop pretending that caffeine counts as nourishment. Something with actual nutritional value needs to enter the equation earlier. So as soon as I wake up, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm having a healthy cup of coffee, which is like a roasted cacao bean, and it's really very nourishing and healthy for you. And a smoothie, because my son, my 14-year-old son Perry, he likes to have a smoothie each morning before school. So, and it's a very healthy smoothie. And so I've been having that because if I'm going to make it for him, I might as well have some. So that's the first thing I'm doing, starting earlier in the day with a healthy food and my vitamins. Second, I'm rebuilding consistency with the vitamins, not perfection, but consistency. The vitamin bucket exists for a reason because I'm using it. So I've divided out all of my vitamins for morning, midday, evening at the categories they're supposed to be, at the time they're supposed to be, in my little dividers. I'll show you guys sometime how I do it. And that helps me stay on track so I don't have to decide all day long and get out each bottle every single time. I just pop it open and can take what's in there. Third, I'm paying attention to caffeine instead of automatically escalating it. I don't want to make this a morality issue. We're not talking about if caffeine is evil or good or whatever. No. If yesterday required one amount and today requires more, and then next month, the one Alani and the one coffee or whatever your other thing might be, or maybe it was just the one Alani, but that's not enough or those aren't enough. And now you need another one. And then a couple months after that, you might even be up to 3, okay? You need to pay attention because the limit, the recommended 400 milligrams of caffeine limit is real, right? It's a real limit. There's a reason they can say not recommended for anyone under 18 because there is an actual cause and effect from these energy drinks. They are not neutral. They may have 0 calories, but that's because they're chemicals that the body can't properly absorb, but they're very good at stimulating the body. My friends, this is not to make you guilty. I had an energy drink before I sat down here. I am trying to cut back and I'm trying to cut them out completely because I don't feel like they're good for me. I really don't. But I'm not perfect. I've been doing this for a long time. And I'll even admit I have started and stopped drinking energy drinks Probably 5 times. I don't know, maybe more, because I do this. I get in the habit of drinking them, and then it's not enough, so I have more. And then over time, it's not enough to feel it, so I have more, right? It's kind of the natural process of addiction related to anything addictive. But caffeine, again, this is not a moral issue. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. My friend, please hear me. It's hard. Life asks so much of us. We are so busy and we are tired. I get it. So please don't feel like I'm picking on you. I want you to know I'm in this with you. All right. But that being said, join me if you can and try to cut back. If you can cut it out, great. If you can't, I understand. Just try to cut back. All right. So, the fourth thing, I'm rebuilding movement. I specifically said movement because it's not punishment, not so exhausted. Great. I'm going to go destroy myself at the gym. Ugh, no, I'm not doing that. I've been walking. Actually, oh, she's so cute. You can't see her, but Roxy is actually laying right here next to me. Probably because she wants me to take her out on a walk. But I've been trying to walk her more and we've been going jogging and we have a little pond in our neighborhood. And so I've been taking her down to the pond and doing a little jog, 2 laps instead of just one, right? Just little things, little bits of improvement, a little bit more. And also started doing some stretching. Okay. When I haven't all summer, the kids have been on break and so have I. I just did not exercise and hardly got out other than, the normal things that moms do, but not any real exercise. So I'm trying to rebuild that and gradually rebuilding my physical capacity and my strength because avoiding movement entirely is definitely not the answer when fatigue is overwhelming. That being said, number 5 is that I'm taking fatigue seriously without allowing it to define me. It's one of the most important things you can do. We need to listen to our bodies without surrendering our lives to every symptom. It's not the opposite. You can listen, you can recognize the fatigue, and then rest, and then encourage yourself to keep moving and keep trying. For part 9, let's talk about that maybe you're not lazy. This is the part I really wanted to tell you because maybe you don't have MS. Maybe you clicked this because you're a mom who used to do 100 things in a day and suddenly you're struggling to do 10. Maybe you're like me and you're approaching 40. I'm going to be there in just a few months and your body feels different. Maybe you're dealing with autoimmune disease. Maybe you're burnt out. Maybe you've been surviving on caffeine and whatever you grab at night. Like there's a truth to it. Ladies, if you need a glass of wine to go to bed and a cup of coffee to wake up, please hear me. It's okay. It's hard. I'm not saying that drinking the glass of wine and the cup of coffee is a great thing or good for you. I'm not. But I am saying it's okay for you to take a breath and recognize life is hard. You may have it really good. There might be a lot of people that wish they could be you, that wish they could have your life or your body or your husband or your house or your job or your kids or your dog. Lots of people want my dog because she's so great. Right? Maybe. If you've been surviving, like I said, on caffeine and whatever gets you through the evening, maybe your brain keeps saying, get up. And your body says, I can't. So before you turn that into a character judgment and hate yourself for grabbing that cup of coffee or that glass of wine, don't be mad at yourself. Give yourself a hug and get curious. That's all I'm asking. Get curious. Look at what you're actually asking your body to do. Look at what you're giving it. Consider your sleep and look at your food. Think about your stress levels and how much movement have you been getting? Like quality movement, not just busyness, but quality movement that's restoring and strengthening to the body. Look at your symptoms. I mean, look at what has changed. What has gotten worse? Or has anything gotten better? Pay attention. If you're experiencing new, severe, or worsening symptoms, that's something to take seriously rather than simply assuming it's laziness or normal tiredness. You are allowed to investigate what your body is communicating. Honestly, I think that's what most people hire a health coach for. I'm a health coach. That is my career focus is coaching people on their health, specifically nutritionally. But as a coach for health, what do people want? They want a coach to help them conquer their health. They want a coach to help them win health. They want a coach to guide them in their training and their preparation and their battle for the game of life. They need a coach. Okay. As a coach, this is what I do. I help people recognize and investigate what is your body saying, right? Because I've taken some of the language classes of the body, right? And because I've taken some of them, you come to me and I tell you what it's saying. For part 10, I want to talk about my 20 years with MS. I was only 17 when I started getting symptoms, and then 2021 when I got my official diagnosis, and I'll be 40 in April. So that's why I say 20 years with MS. When I was first diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I was a young mom. My oldest daughter, Clara, she was a brand new baby. And I remember sitting there while the neurologist tested my reflexes and watched me walk heel to toe. You know what I'm talking about? Where you and I remember going over the MRIs and the white lesions, like the areas, the little white patches on the image. If you've seen an MRI of the brain or spine, you know what I'm talking about. And I remember being told what my future could potentially look like, what I should really plan for. And there was a very real possibility presented to me that within roughly 10 years, my mobility and independence could look dramatically different. That I needed to expect it to pretty much be gone because of how severe and how quickly I was progressing. I'm approaching 40 now, and I'm still walking. I'm still raising my family. I have stairs that I can go up and down, and I do by myself. I'm still creating, I'm still learning, I'm still changing, I'm still here, and I thank God for that. I believe it's a miracle. But living with chronic illness doesn't mean pretending you don't have one. Maybe that's something I'm learning right now. Like every day, I keep learning that strength isn't ignoring every signal your body sends you. Sometimes strength is paying attention early enough that you can change direction. For part 11, I want to talk about your body and that it's listening. When I said as a coach, I've learned the language, I've said this before, your body is listening. It is responding to what you're repeatedly doing or saying to it. This isn't meant to scare you. This is incredibly hopeful because if patterns affect us, patterns can also change. I don't need to transform my entire life by tomorrow morning, and neither do you. Maybe today I eat something nourishing before I reach for another caffeinated drink. Today, I make sure I get in all of my water. Maybe I make sure I get my vitamins. I'm going to. Maybe I walk for 10 minutes if I haven't been at all, or maybe 20 if I have been doing 10-minute walks. Maybe I go to bed when I'm tired instead of scrolling for another hour. Even last night, it was like 9:30 and reasonable. You could go to bed at 9:30 and I was laying in bed with my husband and we have an iPad. It's only so big, a normal iPad, and we are guilty of watching shows on it at night and just laying there in bed together and watching shows. And we had watched something and it was good and productive, and it was even darn it, what's his name? I would tell you. He's a YouTuber and a pastor, and he does these therapy Thursdays. I can't remember his name. Gosh darn it. And I know him and I've watched tons of his stuff. But he does therapy Thursdays, and I was watching his from last week, and it ended. And then my husband's ready for bed and I'm going to go to bed, and then we decide to have a snack. And we stay awake. And then we watch an episode of Chopped, the cooking show. I love that show. I'm so guilty. It's so fun to watch, though. It's, I guess you may not even know it. Is Chopped everywhere? It's this cooking show, and they have four chefs, and they give them the craziest ingredients, and then they have like a 20 or 30-minute timer, and they have to come up with something good. So it's just a lot of fun to watch. And we watch it. And then time. Time is just rolling. It's just rolling. And then before I know it, it's 10:30. And by the time the lights are out and the alarm is set and we're actually going to sleep, it's almost 11. What happened? Okay. So when I say go to bed when I'm tired instead of scrolling, that was me kind of throwing myself under the bus a little bit, because it's what I need to do. You guys, if you want to ask me how I'm doing on it in a day or two, that'd be good. None of you ever comment though. What is up with my channel? I think it might be me. Maybe I don't engage with you guys enough. You should comment. Say something. I don't know why it's like a ghost down in here. It's so quiet because I'm the only one that talks. You guys should talk too. Please make a comment. Anyways, small decisions are still decisions, and repeated decisions become patterns. So when I'm talking about getting to bed on time, commenting on my videos, you should do this repeatedly. Take your vitamins, go for walks. These are important things. I'm not going to call myself lazy. I'm just going to get myself moving. Small decisions, like I said, friend, are still decisions. So in closing, I want to give you a 7-day challenge. 7 days. Okay? Here's what I want us to do. For the next 7 days, don't try to become a completely different person. Just don't. But I do want you to pick one, just one signal of your body, something that you've been experiencing or feeling or hearing, like inside yourself, inside your body, your limbs, your stomach, your head, just somewhere, anything. It could be fatigue, brain fog, hunger in an odd way or a new time, something different, or thirst, poor sleep, weakness, stress. I mean, think about it. Whatever yours is, and instead of immediately silencing it, notice it. Write it down. I'm serious. Get a notebook. Write it down. It is powerful to write things down. Even last night, my husband laughed at me because he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing down because this is good." And I know if I don't take notes and write things down, whether I'm watching a video, brainstorming, reading something else, if I don't write it down, I'm less likely to remember and implement it. So I want you to get a notebook. School supplies are on sale right now. Go buy yourself a 50-cent notebook and a nice set of pens or pencils, whatever your favorite kind is, because I want you to start asking whatever this particular thing is that you're listening to, paying attention to, the symptom, the feeling, the sensation, and ask, when does this happen? Ask yourself, write it down. What happened before it? Like just before this happens. When does it happen? And what happens before it? And that could be like just a few minutes before or the day before. Because as we are paying attention to our appetite and our body. We have to keep in mind that something we ate yesterday is still in our system being digested and eliminated today, maybe even into tomorrow, depending on what it was. Then I want you, so first two questions. When does this happen? Second question, what happened before this happened? Example, let's say you've been getting stomach aches. When do they happen? And what happens right before you feel them? Third question, what makes it better? Anything? Is there anything you've discovered or noticed that makes it better? I want you to write it down. Fourth, what makes it worse? Often, if you have a stomach ache, you know what can make it worse. I deal with nausea. Like I have my MS affects my ability to digest and absorb nutrients at times. And it doesn't do this for everyone with MS, but for me particularly, I experience nausea, almost like I've been on a roller coaster when I haven't. So I have to ask myself, when and what have I done beforehand? And what makes it better? Sometimes there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to throw up. There's nothing I can do. But I can often sit down and rest, cool off, give myself some calm breathing, just a little sip of water, not a lot, just a little. And sometimes that helps, right? If it's something like that for you, you're going to write it down. Whatever it is that makes it better or makes it worse, write it down. The challenge is to become curious about yourself again, because your body isn't an inconvenience that you're dragging through life. Mm-mm. It's the place you're living that life. You can't get out of it. You are in the body you're in. I'm in the body I'm in. This is the only one we get. And I want to take better care of mine. If you're trying to do the same, subscribe and stay with me. This channel is about nutrition, fasting, multiple sclerosis, healthy aging, skincare, and what it looks like to care for the human body through real life, not perfectly, but intentionally. I'm a human, so are you. My hair's not perfect, but I try. My health isn't perfect, but I try. My videos aren't perfect, but I try. You can too. Let's try together. If you want to go deeper with me, you can visit URworthitHealth.com. It's my website. The letter U R, or the letter U, the letter R, worthithealth.com. And like I mentioned, I've written the book, Finally Understand Multiple Sclerosis, and it's great. Guys, here, I've never actually shown it on here, but look, I put in lots of pictures. Okay. If you have multiple sclerosis or an autoimmune disease of any type, this book will help you. There is so much information in here about not only the cause and contributing factors, the symptoms, but what you can actually do about it. In the back of the book is a protocol with tips, ideas, and the supplements that would be beneficial for you. Check it out. Oh, I also wrote the fasting protocol, just the first book, and I'll put the links in the description below. But before you go, answer one question for me in the comments. What signal has your body been sending you lately that you've been tempted to ignore? I genuinely want to know. Please tell me, because maybe somebody else is reading those comments thinking they're the only one, and they're not. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, take care of the body that's carrying you throughout this life. My friend, you're worth taking care of. I'll see you later.